Hare Krishna. So today we'll be discussing and continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 from sloka number 41. Umaknyanatimrandasya jnananjanashlakaya chakshurunmelitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tatadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनत नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, everyone. Very warm welcome. So let's continue reading our Bhagavad Gita from sloka number 41 of chapter 1, observing the armies in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sloka number 41 of first chapter. Shankaro narakayeva kulagnan kulasya cha पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. So here we see how Arjuna is coming from one step to another, making, trying to tell Krishna that he doesn't want to fight. So, and all the statements and the reasons which are given by Arjuna are valid. It seems very valid. So we started off with Arjuna saying that. Yeah, how sin overcomes a person who slays an aggressor, but then it is very evident Arjuna is contradicting himself, saying that they are aggressors who are to be killed, but then he also says that sin will come over over him if he slays such aggressors. So he quotes the word aggressors there. So the Vedic injunction says that there is no sin incurred by killing an aggressor. So we saw the 6 types of aggressors, and then Arjuna goes on to say that maybe they might not know what is what wrong the Kauravas are doing by killing all the people and fighting with their own family and friends, but then we know what are the serious consequences of that. So Arjuna says that he doesn't want to fight. Then from the sloka number 39 he tries to explain like what happens by the destruction of the families, different families. So it is so those who fight in the war, they also have a family, they have a family background, they have a family tradition, not just the general soldiers who fight in the battle, but even the great the kings who also fight in the battle. So with the destruction of the dynasty, what happens? The family tradition is vanquished, and when there are no elders in the family to teach the coming generations what is religious principles or what is dharma, the coming generations goes into complete irreligious activities. And when irreligion becomes prominent in the family, the women become polluted. And when women become polluted, what happens? We see that at the last part of the purport, it says that irresponsible men make use of such women who become polluted in their consciousness, and from them comes unwanted progeny. And when such unwanted progeny becomes more and more in the world, that is what we are going to see in the 41st sloka. When increase of unwanted progeny, what happens? Certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. So here we see in the present generation what happens when there is a lot of people who doesn't know religious principles. When such children are born and they are not nurtured properly, it is not issue is not with the children. The issue is with nurturing the children. When the children are not nurtured, why are they not nurtured? Because the parents or grandparents themselves don't know what are religious principles. In such condition, what will happen to the coming generation? When such children are not nurtured, they go into irreligious activities. And when they do irreligious activities, irreligion means which is adharma, which is not according to the principles of mankind. So, which is as stated by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita or according to the Shastras. So, when people do all these adharmic activities, like we see, people get drunk, they do all the illegal activities, they do a lot of sinful activities, they kill so many of them, they rape so many of them, they rape even children who are 2 months old. Look at the situation of the world. So, this is how the world goes. And this is only because the generations or the coming generations are not taught what is dharma, how to lead a pious life. So when that, because when such children are in the family, what happens, it creates a lot of distress for the family members and also for the society in which such children are growing up. So we see that when, even when in our neighborhood, when such a person is there who is very harassing, who talks very harsh words, or who does a lot of um, sinful activities, it becomes that community or the society in where the people live itself becomes very disturbed, right? So imagine how much influence it will have on the family where such people are there. So so increase of unwanted progeny causes hellish life. Hellish means you don't have to actually go to hell and suffer. Even this present world will create an hell for ourselves. Hellish life both for the family and those who destroy the family tradition. So the such a hellish life is not only uh, for only the family, but also those who destroy such family tradition. That is why Arjuna says, I don't want to kill so many people and destroy the family traditions, because that will create hellish life not only for them because there are no one to teach them, but also for me because I am creating such hellish life for them. So both. And then what happens? So when people don't know what is dharma, they stop all religious activities. And here it says the ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance of offering them food and water are entirely stopped. So this is based on the shraddha ceremony, which is performed after a person dies. We perform the shraddha ceremony. Now people will now you see in the present generation, we don't believe in the shraddha ceremony. We don't think, why should we do all those things anyway? The person is dead, why should we do this? Because the person is dead, the person is not dead, the body is dead, the person is still there, the person is not the body, he is the soul. That's what Krishna says. So when Arjuna says all these things, it is because Arjuna knows that each and every one is a soul, and the soul doesn't die, the soul lives, or the soul is eternal. The body dies, but what we say is the body is dead, so we don't have to do anything. No, we are doing for the soul, not for the body. Even if a person dies, that person is still alive in the subtle form. He's still present in the subtle form, and it is for that subtle for the soul that we are performing all this pindadana samskaras or the shraddha samskaras. So what happens? So once a person dies, he goes to the pitraloka. He goes to Yamaraja, and then he goes to the Pitraloka. So that's where he stays until he gets the next birth, until he gets a next body to take another birth. So there is like a, what to say, a time, like you finish your fifth standard, then you go to sixth standard, so you have a vacation period, right? So it is like a period to settle down for the next coming class. So it's like to regenerate yourself, right? So it's something like that. So you finished one lifetime, now it is time for you to just take rest until the time comes for you to take birth. So this is that lifetime in the Pitraloka. Now what happens there? Speciality of Pitraloka is you don't get food and water there. There is no, you have all facilities, but no food and water there. So what will they eat? They'll be hungry. So that is why the family, they do Shraddha ceremonies every year at there in the earth, so that the whatever food and water is offered here during the Shraddha ceremony reaches that person in the Pitraloka. So this is how it works. That is why Agni, we do all the yajnas and homas into the Agni. Why? Because Agni is like the is like the medium connecting two different world. So here when we do yajnas in the Agni, what happens? It is directly given. Agni Deva takes it from us and gives it to the Devatas. If you are doing worship for the Devatas, it goes to them. If you do worship for different, like Lord Vishnu, like Shiva, then it goes to them. If we do this offering to for our Pitras or our ancestors, it goes to them. So here we see that it is very important, and it is a gratitude we show to them. They were our parents, they were our ancestors who brought us up with lot of teaching us a lot of religious principles, teaching us dharma, teaching us how to lead our life. So this is a gratitude we show to them by doing this pindadhana samskaras, and that has to be done. Yeah, that has to be done. So that, because when we do that, they will be satisfied, they'll be happy, saying that, oh, see what I have given them so much, and now they are paying it back to me. They'll be very happy that my what to say, the younger generations are doing it, and they will bless abundantly. This is very, very important to do Shraddha ceremonies. So because it is not some religious act or some or what to say, it is not something superstitious or anything. It is based on clear scientific knowledge that that person is a soul and not the body. It is with a clear understanding that he is a soul, and the soul has to be given all those things. Yes. So here, that is what happens. So now you see, now in the present generation, no one even knows what are Shraddha samskaras, or they don't give importance to that, or any samskaras. So according to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodic food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reaction. That is the importance of Shraddha ceremony. It is not that I simply give food and water to them, but food and water which is offered to Krishna, which comes as prasad, that prasad which is accepted by Lord Vishnu, if that is given to the Pitrus, they will be suffering. Even our ancestors, they must have done some sinful acts for which they will be suffering. So when they get this prasad of Lord Vishnu, which is very, very powerful, all their sins are immediately vanquished. So we see in a lot of there are many Ekadashi stories where pastimes where it is mentioned, one pitru who is or one ancestor who is suffering in the hellish condition of life, he sends a message through Narada Muni to his son who is there on earth, who is alive on earth, saying that please observe this Ekadashi Vrita so that I can be released from the sinful reaction for which I am suffering here in this hell. Yeah. So sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions. And sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross body. That means they are in the Pitraloka, they cannot take a birth, they cannot get a gross body. They cannot get they are not being able to born, because they don't have that enough karma to take another birth, and because of which they are suffering. Because in Pitraloka you don't have food and water, only if they give you will get it, right? So that is also a suffering. The Pitraloka also, they are suffering, so we have to do all these things, and they are suffering because they are not able to take another birth also. And sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. That is also there. That is another thing. Some of them, those people who die with prematurely, in the sense, those who commit suicide. Suppose I have a lifetime of say 70 years, and I commit suicide when I'm like 30 years or something. So what happens? The rest, how many years? Yeah, rest 40 years I was supposed to live, but I committed suicide. I took life on my own will. It is not by nature's destiny, I took it on my own will. So what happens? That 40 years which I was supposed to live and purify myself, that 40 years, what will happen to that? So the nature punishes such a soul, saying that you will not get another body. You will have to remain as a ghost for next 40 years. Now, when they remain as a ghost, what happens? They don't get food and water. They are hungry, but they can't eat. Why? Because they don't have a gross body. So such people, they roam around as ghosts, and sometimes they trouble. Sometimes, I mean, if they are pious souls, they don't trouble, or else they will cause trouble to others or the family members. All these things are there. So these are subtle signs. And yeah, so even they'll be suffering. So being a ghost is also a suffering, because they are suffering too much, they are creating disturbance for others also. So this we'll see, because when I am hurt, when I am sad, when I am very in a very depressed condition, what happens? If anyone comes to me, I will put out all my depression, anger, everything on them, right? So I cause harm to others. So when I am hurt and I am angry, I have a tendency to cause harm to others. Only a very strong person will understand, I am hurt so much, I should not cause anger, same hurt to others. Only a person who is very strong in his heart, who is clear in his consciousness, will have such a thought. Others, they will, what I get, I will give to others also. That will be their general attitude or tendency. So similarly, the ghosts, they are also suffering. So because they are suffering so much, sometimes they will cause suffering to others also who are there, maybe mostly the families. Mm, yeah. So when remnants of prasad food are offered to forefathers by the descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to the forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. So most of us are supposed to perform such rituals, except those who are in a very elevated, in a devotional life. So it is like mostly like when we see that the sannyasis, they don't I think they don't perform, or I'm not sure. So what happens is, because they have dedicated their life completely in the service of the Lord. So for them, such people, they don't have to do the really all these rituals, because the Lord is taking care. Because if suppose if I have dedicated my life in the service of the nation, then the government will take care of my family and everything. They will give all the facilities for my family, because I am surrendering my life for the service of the nation, right? So it is the duty of the government to take care of my family if anything happens to me, or even if something happens to me, still it is a duty of the government, because some person is sacrificing his life for the nation. You see how prestigious it is. So similarly, if someone surrenders his life for the service of the Lord, then the Lord will take care. The person doesn't have to do all these rituals. The Lord will take care. The Lord will take care of his ancestors. So it says that a person who becomes a devotee of Lord Vishnu, his 14 generations I mean, I think it is like 14 ahead and 7 before, 7 ancestors and 14 coming descendants, all of them will be delivered. How is that? Because a person who has dedicated his life for the service of Krishna, Krishna takes care, not just his family, immediate family, but he says 21 generations he will take care. So that is a glory of becoming a devotee of the Lord. For such a person, he doesn't have to perform. But then the question is, we have to think whether we are so dedicated to the service of the Lord. If we are, then okay. Or else we'll also have to parallelly perform. So no one says that we should not perform rituals. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he appeared, he was doing all this rituals. Right? So it is our duty to perform. So we should not think that, oh, I am a great devotee, so I don't have to do anything. No, we continue doing it. So one who is engaged, yeah, simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. This is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini charajan sarvat sarvatmana yas sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation. So, the name of the Lord Mukunda means one who liberates from our sinful reactions, from our bondage. Giving up all kinds of obligation, has taken to the path in all seriousness. So, it is about a serious devotee. Owes neither duties nor obligations to the devatas, sages, general people, family members, humankind, or forefathers. So, such a person. So this is a very elevated person. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by the performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one who has dedicated his life for the Supreme Law, the Lord will take care of all these things. He doesn't have to do all this rituals and everything. But then it is for very, very, very highly elevated souls. Maybe 0.01% of the population might be like that. Okay. So second next sloka 42. दोषैर् एतः कुलं ज्ञानं वर्णशङ्करकारकै उत्साद्यन्ते जाति धर्मा कुलधर्मश्च शाश्वताः. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Community projects for the four orders of human society combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma are designed to enable human beings to attain his ultimate salvation. So this Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatana Dharma helps a person to bring out his full capability. So, because as we see, as soon as a child is born, after 5 years or something, he is sent to the Gurukul. What happens in the Gurukul? He is purified. So he is made to do a lot of studies. He is made to understand what is the real goal of life, and he is made to purify himself so that when he becomes old enough to lead a family or to be in the society, like around 20, 25 years or something, what happens? He's purified so much that what is the goal of his life, what is the mission of his life, materially as well as spiritually, both of it is completely fulfilled, and he can fulfill the aim and goal of his life in this lifetime itself. Materially he will fulfill all the goals and whatever it has to be done, and spiritually also he will attain salvation. So the varnashrama dharma is a very the Sanatana Dharma, as given by the Lord, is a beautiful process by which one can elevate himself and attain, one can make his life successful both materially and spiritually. So when that is broken, what happens? We are not allowing a person to make the full use of his human life, what he is supposed to achieve in this life. We are not, I mean, that person is not made to achieve that, because these family traditions are broken, because of which purification doesn't happen, and only if purification happens he can attain this. It is like only if I complete my study of say for a doctor, for becoming a doctor, mbbs or md, only if I complete my study and get that knowledge, I am eligible to contribute something to the society, isn't it? Similarly, only if I purify myself from all the anarthas can I contribute something to the society materially and spiritually, isn't it? So that purification doesn't happen because the religious principles are broken, the Sanatana Dharma is broken. That is what happened to our Indian tradition. The Britishers came, they destroyed everything. The different kind of dynasties came, they destroyed many things from outside. The dynasties from outside who came into India, they destroyed all those things. And we Indians, we do not understand the importance of our dharma, our culture, and we also shook our head and sat like that. We do not fight back. That is why all this destruction happened in the past 200 years in India. And look at the condition of the people here. Yeah, they don't even know the greatness of the culture. They don't even know who they are. It becomes completely materialistic. The goal of life is not reached. So that is a sad situation. Yes. So therefore, breaking of the Sanatana Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in the society, and consequently, people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. So, such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos. So, this is what has happened to our Indian culture in the past, say, 200, 300 years or something, because they forgot Lord Vishnu. Because everything, whether you want to achieve something materially or spiritually, you need the mercy of Vishnu. So you see the devatas, Indra Deva, he is the king of the heavens. He has all material pleasures, everything. There is woman, wine, all the material pleasures are there, but then he is given a very high post of controlling so many things. He's a devata. Why? And if there is any problem, what does he do? First, he will run to Lord Brahma, and then along with Brahma, he goes to Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu takes care, the Lord Krishna or Vishnu, he takes care of everyone's both material and spiritual. It is not that Krishna says, "Oh, I will take care only of your spiritual things. Your material life, however it goes, I don't care." No. Krishna is very, very interested in taking care of your material as well as spiritual life, for which we have to learn about Krishna. We have to know that Vishnu is the essence. But then what happens by destroying these family traditions? We don't even know Vishnu. And if you don't have Vishnu with you or Krishna with you, both your material and spiritual life is in a chaos. The entire society goes into chaos. And that is what happened to our Indian society. So, sloka number 43. Utsan उत्सन्न कुल धर्मानां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नित्य नियतं वासो भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Arjuna bases his argument not on his own personal experience, but on what he has heard from authorities. It's not just what he has seen, but also from authorities. That is a way of receiving real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of factual knowledge without being helped by the right person who is already established in that knowledge. So you cannot earn an MBBS degree unless you are taught by a doctor, isn't it? So similarly, you cannot gain such a um, Vedic knowledge or the science of the Lord other than from a person who already is established in the knowledge of the Lord. So this is very important. We don't see, even to gain a MBBS degree, you have to learn from an authorized college and from an authorized teacher, isn't it? Certified teacher. Then why is it that we learn Bhagavad Gita from any Tom, Dick, and Harry? We don't do that. We it has now this the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is very, very special, that you have to learn only from the devotee of Krishna, because Krishna is giving this knowledge to a devotee of his, that is to Arjuna. When Arjuna, who is a devotee of Krishna, accepts Krishna as the supreme Lord, many people out there go around saying that Krishna is not the Lord. He is just a very powerful, just some powerful human being. That's it. The entire thing is broken. So what we are learning is not from a person who has understood Krishna. Many people speak about Bhagavad Gita, but do they know Krishna? Do they know that Krishna is the supreme Lord? Have they understood Krishna as Arjuna has understood? No. Then we are not learning from an authorized source. So it is very important to know who Krishna is, and we have to learn from a person who is established in such knowledge. So there is a system in the Varnashrama institution by which before death one has to undergo the process of atonement for his sinful activities. One who is always engaged in sinful activities must utilize the process of atonement called prayashchitta. Without doing so, one surely will be transferred to hellish planets to undergo miserable life as a result of sinful activities. So, in the Varnashrama Dharma, what happens is, suppose one has done a lot of sin in his life, the last years of his life, what they do is uh, they undergo prayashchitta. Because what happens is, I have done a lot of sin in this life, and I don't undergo prayashchitta. I don't atone for my sins, or I don't regret for my sinful activities. What happens is that sins are carried forward to the next life, and I have to suffer for that. I have to suffer because suppose I'll give a very nice example. Hmm, there was one person who was suffering so much in his life, a lot of issues in the family, financial issues, a lot of things, or relationship issues, all those things. And he was very very depressed and very sad. Why are these things happening to me? I have not done anything wrong in this life. Yes, in that life he has not done any harm to anyone. Why am I suffering so much? So then at one point he went through so many people, and he found out that I have not done anything in this life, so it is not coming from this life. Why should I suffer if I have not done something wrong? So that is a very valid question. You don't have to suffer for anything if you have not done anything wrong. So if I am suffering, then I have done something wrong. So he was very intelligent to ask that question, and he got through many people, and there was a person who helped him out to understand his previous karma. And uh, and mostly there are many regression methods by which we can know our past karmas and lot of things. But then he got it through scientific methods, is through regressions, and there are other subtle methods. By doing a lot of pujas, you will get to know that. So this person, he got to know that in his previous life, there was a person who came to him for help, and he was in a very bad situation. That person was mentally some issue or something was there. This person was in a very bad situation. He came to this guy for help, and he did not help him, and because of which the other person, he went into a lot of depression and trauma, and he got an attack and he died. So he was in such a mental situation. He needed some help, and this person did not help. It's like you see a girl being harassed in the road, and she wanted help, and she's screaming for help, and you are standing in front and you don't help her. Now imagine that situation. And then finally something bad happens to her and she dies. Now you did not do anything. You were just watching there. But then you see how karma comes. They called you for help and we did not help. So that created a lot of karmic connection there. And at least at the end of his life, towards the end of his life, he should have thought, okay, the such a thing happened in, and it is hurting, it is pricking me so much, and I have done something wrong. I have to do prayashchita for this. So what happens if you don't do the prayashchita? That karma came over to his next life, during which he suffered a lot. So we see this is what happens. So karma is carried forward. So we have to do prayashchita for our. So it doesn't mean you do prayashchita and then you again continue doing it. If you continue doing the same mistake, then we'll again get the karma. What foolishness is that? I did a prayashchita for something wrong did, and I'm doing the same wrong again, for which I have to keep doing prayashchita. How long will this keep going? I do wrong, I do prayashchita. I do wrong, I do prayashchita. And prayashchita is not very easy to be done. It is not at all very easy. We have to sincerely understand our mistake. It is not that, oh, I am sorry for what I've done. It's not in words. It is not in words. It's not just in actions. It has actions. It has to be from our intention. We have to actually feel in our heart. Karma knows, the mother nature knows what our intentions are. So only when our intentions are there and we really regret for our mistakes, only then the karma, even then we'll have to suffer, because we have done something wrong to another person, we'll have to suffer for that. So, so you see, just that person did not even kill. He was just watching, but that other person died. So see how serious karma comes over. Even for if so, so imagine if I have actually killed, what will be the result of such a karma? That is how Dhritarashtra is also suffering. 100 children of Dhritarashtra died because he killed 100 bird children of two father and mother births. See, where are birds? Life of a bird is very, very, what to say? It's not so great as a human life. The life, a bird's life is not so great as a human life. But you see, the same amount of karma came because those birds suffered. The father and the mother suffered the pain of seeing their 100 children dying. The same pain Dhritarashtra and his wife also had to suffer. So karma is very, very strict. The laws of karma are very strict. No one can evade it. It will come. And doing prayashrita is also not a very easy task. So, but most of the time, what we do something wrong, we say, okay, leave it. This leave it attitude itself will create more karma, because I'm not very serious about the wrongs that I'm doing. I'm taking it very casually. This is how most of us are suffering in this world, because we are doing wrong and we don't understand the depth of the wrong that we are doing. We take it very casually, and then we don't even think that, oh, I have done something wrong and I have to do prayashchita. What happens? It comes into the next life. Yes. So so maybe we'll have to go to the hellish planets and suffer, or maybe it comes to the next lifetime, or maybe in this lifetime also, it depends. Sloka number 44. Aho bahat mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yatra jasuka lobhena hantum swajana mudyatah. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kingsmen. Driven by selfish motives, one may be inclined to such sinful acts as the killing of one's own brother, father, or mother. So we see that in our modern world. So just for some plot or from for little land or property, they are ready to kill their own father, mother, or brother, whoever it is. There are many such instances in the history of the world. So it's not something which is happening now. It has been happening for a long time. But Arjuna, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of moral principles and therefore takes care to avoid such activities. But Arjuna is not an ordinary person. He knows what are dharmic principles. So he says, just for money and land, I cannot go around killing people. So yeah, that is a very valid point which Arjuna gives. But then we'll see what Krishna says for that. यदि माम अप्रतीकारम अशस्त्रं शस्त्रम् अशस्त्रं शास्त्रपाणयः धातराष्ट्रारणे हन्योस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed, and unresisting on the battlefield. So Arjuna says, better than me killing them just for money and land and property and royal pleasures, it is better they kill me. Even if I am not fighting, or even if I'm unarmed or unresisting. Usually when Kshatriyas are unarmed or unresisting, they are not supposed to kill. But even if I am that condition, better they kill me than me killing them. So because he doesn't want to do such sinful acts. It is a custom according to Kshatriya's fighting principles that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. So they say, no, like show your power to someone who is equal to you, not to someone who is on a lower level. So I am very powerful and I am very strong. I fight with someone who's equal to me. I don't show my power to someone, a little child, showing that, see, I am very powerful. No, you show your power to someone who's equal. That shows your strength. So not taking it on the younger. So that's what in the modern world, people who are very powerful, they show their power on the people who are not very powerful. Power in the sense physical power, or even political power, or even social power, or whatever influence or whatever you have, they show it on people who are on the lower level. You show your power to someone who's equal. So that's why they say, like when there are fighters, no, they'll say, so they'll fight with only someone who's equal or above them, because that will give that they can show their full caliber in that, and that power, not by fighting with someone who's not on the same level. So the same thing was followed by Kshatriyas, who was unarmed and unwilling. So even if he is not willing to fight, then you should not fight with him. Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward position, he should not fight. He would not fight. He did not consider how much the other party was. He did not consider how much the other party was bent upon fighting. All the symptoms are due to soft heartedness resulting from being a great devotee of the Lord. So, when one becomes a great devotee of the Lord, he becomes soft hearted and strong hearted. So, here all these are showing his soft heartedness. Now, later on, we'll also see the rest of the things where he becomes strong hearted also. So, now with all these things, we'll see at the end, Arjuna says, I don't want to fight. So, he is being soft hearted, but he is also becoming weak hearted here. Now, what Krishna is going to do is he is going to keep a soft heartedness. Yes, you have to be soft hearted. Being a devotee of the Lord, we have to be soft hearted. But Krishna will also make Arjuna strong hearted through his instructions. That is what we want. We want both soft heartedness and strong heartedness. We should not be soft hearted and weak hearted. So all these instructions from the Bhagavad Gita make us both soft-hearted and strong-hearted. So these instructions of Krishna are going to make Arjuna, who is now weak-hearted, to make him strong-hearted. So we'll see that in the coming classes. So with this, we'll complete. We'll stop here, and the next session, I think we can come. Okay, this is just the last sloka. Only one more sloka. So we'll do this. Sloka number 46. Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Uktvārjuna Sankhye Ratopasta Upavishat Visrujasa Sharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasaha. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having this spoken on the battlefield. Okay, Sanjaya is saying this too. Yeah, yes. So Sanjaya was, Dhritarashtra was asking Sanjaya what is happening. So Sanjaya is telling what is happening. All the conversations between Arjuna and Krishna. Now Sanjaya is saying to Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, thus having spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So finally, he's like completely gone. He's, let them better kill me. So that was his final statement saying, let them kill me. I will not fight. And then he's like completely depressed and sits down on the chariot, throwing away his bow and arrow and becomes his mind overwhelmed with grief. Purport. While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow and arrow. Such a kind and soft hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self knowledge. This is very, very important. Who is fit to receive self knowledge? Because only when we become soft hearted, we'll be able to accept the knowledge of Krishna. A very hard hearted person, no, his heart is like stone. He cannot, he cannot accept anything. He's like he has already fixed his mind. So a soft hearted people, they are the best candidates to get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which makes them strong hearted also. See how beautiful it is. You already have one qualification, that is soft heartedness. The other qualification which we lack mostly, that is the weak heartedness. So that, I mean, that is the negative side. We are weak hearted most of the time, so this knowledge will help us become strong hearted. So soft heartedness is a very good qualification. That is mainly there in pious people, all of them. So, such a kind and soft hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive the self knowledge. So, this is a very important statement. So, now Krishna is going to give Arjuna the knowledge. We'll see it in the second chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta and the purport for the first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So, with this, we complete the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and tomorrow we'll begin with the second chapter. One of the it's interesting. It is like all the essence of Bhagavad Gita is put in that second chapter. It's a little bit long, but then it's very interesting. So thank you so much. And Vancha Kalpaturu Vishya Kripa Sindhubhye Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anant Kodi Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai, Granthiraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Tata Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.